my last video, I really felt that, okay, now it's time to actually share how I started creating sound journeys. And yeah, I realized that it is 2 years ago now. So it feels like a good time, actually. Yes. And I know that some of you actually has been here since the beginning, since I started creating sound journeys, and even before. So thank you so much. You have no idea what it has meant for me. Yeah, I have no words for it. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful. So before I can completely dive into the process of beginning creating sound journeys, I feel like I need to go a little bit back and share about what happened before, like what was leading up to this. And it all started, like, whenever I think, like, when it started, I can always go back and back and back and back and back, and then we start when I was born, and maybe we can even go further back into another life. I don't know. But, you know, if I would say that where it truly accelerated was in Nepal. So in short, what happened was that my partner and I traveled to Nepal, and on this journey my voice began opening up. It had already started awakening a little bit before, but on this journey it really started opening up after a decade of being silent. So I would say that was like really where it accelerated this process of voice opening. And so much happened in Nepal that I cannot even, if I try to go into it all, yeah. But anyway, being with these beautiful people that we met, being with each other and creating sound with each other in the mountains, being in the mountains, like that was so healing for me. And that was a transformation for me. It was a complete transformation. And during the last month of our travel there, our dear friend and brother Garrett, he made a one-on-one session for me with singing bowls. And that was like, that made everything clear to me. I was actually involved in something different. I was on a different path at this time, but then simultaneously this voice opening started happening, and I was super confused. And then after this session, I was not confused anymore. I saw everything so clearly. And what he said to me was, you need to find out what wants to be released. And in that moment, I knew very strongly what wanted to be released. And so when we came home from Nepal, I went through so many things, but it was so like super scary to begin. But my partner Mami, he bought a microphone for me, and then I just started recording. And I only had this microphone and then free software. I think it was Filmora, and that is for editing video. But I had no experience in how to record sound, and I had no mixing program. So I just started with what I had. And this is what I wanted to mention. Like in the last video, we were talking about creativity, and this act of just doing something here and now, acting on our ideas, honoring the ideas by creating with whatever we have right here and now, instead of starting creating when we know everything, or when we have the perfect setup, something like that. Like I only had the microphone and a film editing software, and I started releasing, started creating sound journeys. I was simply sitting down and chanting and letting out whatever wanted to come out. And now I'm so grateful, not only because that initiation of the process allowed me to go deeper and deeper and deeper and continue also today, but at the same time it also, like what I created back then was so unique for that period of time. That was right when my voice started opening, and I can never create anything like that again, because it was at that point, like where I am, like right now in this moment, I create something that is unique for where I am in my process now. So whenever we allow ourselves to truly create, it can never be replicated in the same way. It is original to that situation. It is original to the present moment. And wow, that is so beautiful. It really is beautiful. And those sounds that came out back then, like there was something so primal about that. And I remember a lot of you mentioned like it felt ancient to you, like the feeling of something ancient. And actually, yeah, this was also very funny, because then half a year later, after I started creating the sound journeys, then 6 months after, I was like, okay, maybe I put a few of these, see if I can find out how to put a few songs on, a few sound journeys on Spotify, just to see if it was possible, you know? And then as I was sitting there and wondering, okay, which one should it be? And all of a sudden, I realized I have an album. I have created an album. And that was not an intention at all, but then it just happened, you know? It is like when we are so trusting the process, then something will reveal itself. Like what we don't need to know what we are creating in the moment of creation. but something will reveal itself later. And in this way we can keep the creative process completely pure and allow ourselves to get really, really surprised. Surprised by what we have created. And not even what we have created, but what we have allowed to be created through us. That feels much more as it is, like just allowing it to flow. And so one last thing that I want to tell you is that all of those songs that are on my first album, Nordic Whispers, they are actually edited in a filmmaking software. They are all edited there. And then at this point, when I then decided to release some songs, and I found out, oh, I have an album, like I knew exactly, I maybe had like, I don't know, 20 sound journeys at this point. And I knew exactly this one, 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 this one. And there were 8 sound journeys that was just like, they just fitted together. And together they were a unity. And then at this point, I had gathered more experience, and I was like, I was exploring some different sound mixing softwares and stuff like this. So then I could take these old sound journeys and then refine them a little bit. I still didn't know a lot, but I knew a little bit how to refine a little bit. And so what I had created that was so raw, all of a sudden I could reevaluate, and I could take whatever felt right, and I could, you know, adjust it to the level of skill that I then had acquired. Because the skill, if you just keep on moving, if you keep on creating, the skill will come by itself. And then you can always go back and refine some things and see, yeah. So I just wanted to share this with you. And yeah, if you want to listen to this album, I will just link the YouTube video, and where else you can find it, I will link that below. Because the full album is also here on YouTube and also on Bandcamp. So this was how it all began, and I feel like it is such a deep process, so I could keep on talking about it. But if you have any questions, then feel free to ask. I would love to dive into these things, because I feel like I have only just scratched the surface a little bit. I have only just told like a teeny tiny fraction of the process and everything. So yeah, I invite you to just ask any questions that you might have and about creative processes or something like this. Something that sparked your curiosity, anything. And I think that's it for now. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. Ciao, ciao.